right back to it like we never left, and man, they're inevitable, aren't they? I mean, they just keep finding ways to win. It's unbelievable. If you're wondering who I'm talking about, the goddamn Kansas City Chiefs. We got a lot to talk about today. Got some college football chaos to talk about. Got some NFL chaos to talk about. We got Heisman to talk about. College football playoffs to talk about. We got some division standings in the NFL. We got a lot to talk about. So without any further ado, I think I'm just going to start with breaking down the NFL, some of the games I saw this weekend. There's going to be a few games that we either briefly go over or we go through a lot quickly. If you remember me talking, I don't remember how long ago at this point. A few weeks ago, we talked about how potentially there are going to be some games that we don't talk about for too long. That's that time of year. We're over the halfway point of the season now, so that's the point where some of these games, some of these teams don't need to be talked about too much. Like, for example, Panthers-Giants. We'll start off with the London game. I have a few tidbits I do want to talk about. Overall, not too much. But yeah, without any further ado, let's hop right in. Like I said, we're going to talk Panthers-Giants. Oh, there's a Thursday night game. Let me decide. We might talk about that Thursday night game first. Oh, that thing was a banger. We'll talk about that towards the end because we got a lot to talk about. So yeah, like I said, we'll start with the London game because it wasn't nearly as exciting. 2017, both teams start off with a punt, but Panthers actually scored first from a passing touchdown from Bryce Young. Gave that out. Shout out. I think... Yeah, we did give it out. I couldn't remember if I gave it out on my show or not. For sure gave it out on Rowan's show. Pretty sure we gave it out on this show. But yeah, 2017 victory for the Panthers overall. They improved to 3-7. Giants dropped to 2-8. Crazy world you live in if you think the Panthers are a horrible team and your team's worse than them. Yeah, that's tough. Daniel Jones, my biggest takeaway from the game was he just needs to pull the trigger, man. I'm not gonna lie to him. Learning more. I mean, it just feels like the Giants as a whole are just kind of set up for failure as of right now. But man, Tyrone Tracy, that boy looked good. Sad that he fumbled the game away literally in overtime. So yeah, like I said, this game ends up going to overtime. With 9 seconds left, the Giants are able. They would drive down the field, and with 9 seconds left, they're able to kick a field goal. Ends up making it 17-17. We immediately go into overtime. Giants get the ball first, so it's like, all right, looking like we're probably going to win this game. And first play of overtime, Tyrone Tracy fumbles the ball, gives the Panthers the ball basically at the red zone, and field goal, field goal. Panthers win. Bryce Young actually didn't look too horrible. Still has a little bit of the Bryce Young issues in there. A few missed passes, a few missed passes. There's a few bad drops. 15 for 20 for 126 yards, and the winning quarterback. Hey, not too shabby, my friend. Like I said, Chuba Hubbard, though, he's the main one to talk about. 153 yards rushing, 1 rushing touchdown. He looked like he got a little bit hurt towards the end, but came back in, so we'll have to keep an eye on that, especially with them having to buy and Jonathan Brooks coming back. But yeah, like I said, shout out to the Panthers. They improved to 3-7. The biggest thing I want to talk about the Giants now, the 2-8 Giants. My biggest complaints with the Giants and Daniel Jones is he just needs to pull the trigger, man. They had that flea flicker, which running a flea flicker on 3rd and 1 with Daniel Jones as your quarterback. Questionable in itself. I mean, and the fact that you aren't running the ball with him. Questionable in itself. But we aren't going to blame Dayball too much today. He's going to have his blame pie come in. It's going to be coming down the road. But the biggest thing is that Daniel Jones needs to throw the ball. There's guys open, and I can't remember who told me this, but I want to say, I'm not going to say just because I can't remember exactly where I heard it, but somebody was talking, and they were talking about how Daniel Jones is one of those quarterbacks where he needs to see it first and then throw it. So instead of anticipating it, like, for example, say a guy's running a slant, and he ends up bracing by 3 or 4 feet. You can anticipate. Maybe that's not the best example. Let me do a better route. So do an out route because slant's probably a horrible way to explain it. Do an out route. So there's anticipation on the throw, where it's like as you're watching it. The second the guy breaks, it's like, all right, I need to throw it to the spot now because he's breaking. I anticipate he's going to break and be about 3 or 4 steps, and I need to let this ball go now because in about 3 or 4 steps he should be right where that ball's at. So and when that happens. Bam, perfect timing. Receiver will catch it usually either wide. Say the DB's right on him. Receiver will still be able to catch it wide open because you threw it with enough anticipation where the receiver is able to get that 1 step of separation. That's all they need. Especially in the NFL, 1 or 2 steps, that's all you really need for some of these elite guys. Daniel Jones, on the other hand, is waiting for... So instead of throwing it when the guy's breaking at that step, anticipating that, okay, my guy's going to be open to the sideline, I just need to let this rip. He needs to see it become open first, so it's... For example, if we're doing the same out route play, he's sitting there. The guy takes a step, has to be another step, maybe even a third step, and then Daniel Jones is like, all right, he's open. And then he throws it, and then it's a deflected pass, or he throws it behind, so it's late. It's like that type of stuff. There's a lot of that happening right now, and that just tells me that either he's not comfortable with the offensive line, he's not comfortable with the system, or the coach, those are combined, or that's just who he is. Because, I mean, this is becoming now a thing. It's multiple games. I just don't know if he's not trusting his reads. Like I said, it's basically what I've narrowed down to. He's not trusting his reads, or that's just who Daniel Jones is as a quarterback. I can't figure it out because, let's be honest, the Giants have been a dumpster fire the whole time he's been there. They basically have not given him any chance to succeed. And so, yeah. Just shout out to the Panthers for winning a game. Sucks because I took the under at 5.5, and now it's like, man, we really got to start thinking about sweating this out. I don't think they're going to win more than 5 games still. It's just, this felt like a cheap win they shouldn't have had. And it's like, come on, man. Come on, you damn Giants. This should have been one of your free wins. But like I said, shout out to the Panthers, man. That's an awesome win for them. We'll pop back to Thursday night because this game was actually really, really awesome. We'll just go through some of the scores real quick. So with 9:27, Chase Brown ends up scoring a rushing touchdown. That's the first touchdown we get all game. There was basically no field goal in this game. Yeah, there was no field goals really in this game, which is, I totally forgot about that because I was just looking at the score. I'm like, that's a lot of 7s and 20. That's a lot of 7s. But like I said, Chase Brown opens up the score early, and then 13:08, Lamar Jackson throws a 6-yard touchdown pass to Nelson Aguilar, which then, it was really quiet in the first half. Jamar Chase was still having a game, though. Jamar Chase, I can't remember what exactly had in the first half. I wish I wrote this down, but I actually did not, sadly. But, so like I said, passing touchdown, Joe Burrow throws it to Tanner Hudson, 36 seconds left in the half. So this makes it 14-7 Bengals, and then, hey, this is where the fun begins. So about 13-21, I can't remember who got ball first at half at this point after watching all these games, but Jamar Chase, 67-yard touchdown, just an absolute bomb. It's one of those situations where you're sitting there and you're watching it, and it's like, oh shit, he's going to get open, and then he just ends up running away from everybody. Jamar Chase with a 67-yard touchdown there. Then the Ravens enter back by driving down the field. Not able to do much of that drive, but later on in the quarter, 4:17 left in the quarter, Derrick Henry gets a rushing touchdown, and then I think reties the game back up, 14-14 each. And then this is where you get some fun. You get with 13:44 left, fourth quarter, insane catch by is it Tyler Wallace or Tylen? That's what I thought. Tylen Wallace, he gets a reception down the sideline. Somehow able to stay in bounds, side ropes the sidelines. You get an 84-yard bomb there. Which is like, oh, and then Justin Tucker missed the extra point, so that's when it got weird. It's like, oh, holy shit, Justin Tucker actually missed an extra point? But yeah, remember that. Justin Tucker missed an extra point with 13:44 left in the fourth quarter. Yeah, like I said, so after they missed the extra point, with 5:56 left, you would get a touchdown from Mark Andrews, and then this puts them up 2 scores, I believe, at this point. Then you get the answer from Jamar Chase with a 70-yard touchdown at this point. And by the way, at this point in the game, I placed a bet about start of third quarter. It was Jamar Chase and Zay Flowers to combine for 300 passing yards. If you remember the stats from this game, or you look at the stats right now, yeah, plus 3,700. We'll talk about it here in a second. So like I said, Jamar Chase gets a 70-yard touchdown, absolute bomb. Lamar Jackson able to answer back, retake the lead. They get a touchdown from Rashad Bateman. And then with 42 seconds left, Joe Burrow, touchdown pass to, Jamar Chase again for his third of the day. Give that boy 3 of them things. He went to Cane's, ordered a Caniac combo, no slaw. Give me 3 extra toasts. That boy had 3 of them things on the day. And yeah, then they don't get the extra point, which is because they went for 2, obviously. So that would be end up where they lose the game because they don't get the ball back. 42 seconds left, though. I mean, this was a banger of a second half. The back and forth in this game was absolutely insane, especially in the second half. That fourth quarter was just mind-melting with bomb, bomb, bomb. And, man, just sucks you have to lose that game. Joe Burrow, 34-56, 428, 4 touchdowns. I about said Lamar Jackson. I corrected myself. I about said Lamar Chase and Jamar Jackson. Jamar Jackson, I don't know why that name is kind of fire, but Lamar Jackson, 25 for 33, 290, 4 touchdowns. Chase Brown, 42 yards. Derrick Henry, 68 yards. Not a lot in the running game, but passing game. Tylen Wallace, 3 for 3, 115, 1 touchdown. Jamar Chase, 11 for 264. 264 and 3 touchdowns. Him and Zay Flower, by the way, finished with 298 combined receiving yards. So yeah, it would have been $10 to win 380. I'd put the sprinkle on like at a halftime, like, hey, he's getting a lot of yards, why not? And man, the fact that it was even close to hitting at one point is minus 145. Man, we were so. The dogs. I mean, even he agrees. Heartbreaker to lose that, but. Speaking of heartbreaking loss, that is a heartbreaking loss for the Bengals to find themselves at 4-6 now. Still a path to make the playoffs. I mean, especially with Joe Burrow as your quarterback. I mean, you're looking at Chargers, then you get a bye week, and then Steelers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns, Broncos. Steelers to end it. Still doable. It's just frustrating to lose as many games as they have early. And they need to just figure out this early beginning of the season thing where they're just like, hey, we're just going to lose all these games at the beginning of the season, and then we're going to get it rolling. I mean, man, you don't take 4 straight losses to begin the season. Your season just looks so much different. And they just need to figure that part of the game out. But wow, I mean, that Thursday night game was fun, man. It was a great game. And man, like I said, just like somebody has to lose it. The Ravens, though, finding a ways to win. And man, I can't believe they did it again. Next, we'll go down the list. I guess we'll talk about Buffalo 30, Colts 20. This game was really 30-13. Joe Flacco and Alec Pierce connect for a touchdown with Joe Flacco and Alec Pierce. They get a touchdown late with 8 seconds left to make this cover for your boy's teaser, which, man, that was about the only thing good we did this weekend. This weekend was a rough weekend when it comes to scoring. Not a lot, especially in fantasy. Fantasy was horrid. We don't need to talk about that, though. Joe Flacco starts off the game on offense. Horrid pick 6. I mean, we're talking 12-24 in the game. The Colts defense gets a massive stop, which I will admit, before I get into that point, shout out the Colts defense who's actually showing up these last few weeks. It just sucks now that, hey, guess what? Like I mentioned a few weeks ago, now that the defense is playing really good and lights out because they got guys healthy, offense is no showing. 2 of the worst performances the Colts offense has put up ever under Shane Steichen, which just goes to my point of they just seem to can't get things right. You hear all this stuff that's leaking out the building and everything with the Colts. They a mess, boy. They got some. There's a lot of soul searching that needs done in Indianapolis. Let's just put it like that. But yeah, like I said, the Colts are 30-20. Bills just look good. I mean, they had no receivers and still found a way to win. Looked pretty good. Like I said, though, the biggest concern I would have for the Bills is the Colts defense. Like I said, it's looked impressive. It's starting to improve a little bit. They couldn't get off the field, but they got some stops when they needed to on 4th down and everything. Like they got some key 4th down stops. I mean, Josh Allen ran for 50 yards on them. James Cook ran for 80. Josh Allen threw for 280. Had no passing touchdowns, but like I said, had the rushing touchdown. I mean, the biggest things I noticed, like I said, the Colts got some stops when they really needed to on like 4th down. They were able to turn the ball over some. It's just their offense and met. Led to... Oh, Goodson. Okay, so yeah, one of the 4th down stops that the Colts got led to a Tyler Goodson touchdown. Well, shout out to that guy, man. First NFL touchdown. And he got on a passing play after earlier in the drive, missing another passing play. I'm not going to lie to you, but Shane Steichen putting in Tyler Goodson and Trey Sermon on 3rd down, whatever his fetish is for that, how Jonathan Taylor's not a full 3-down back, I don't understand. I don't know if he's tired. I don't know if he just randomly gets tired on 3rd down. And, no, I don't know what it is, truly. That part of it I have not figured out yet. I've watched multiple Colts games at this point and cannot figure out why these guys get in on 3rd down. Like, why do we not... JT, especially with Michael Pittman out, JT is probably one of our best players in offense, and we're putting in his backups on some of the most important downs in the game. I don't know. Maybe Trey Sermon and Tyler Goodson are just that goddamn good. Anyway, though, Taylor was running wild on the Colts. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was the only thing good that happened for the Colts that day. Joe Flacco, 272 passing yards, not counting the garbage passing touchdown. He had finished the day with 2, but not counting the garbage touchdowns. One touchdown, 3 interceptions, 2 of them almost being pick 6s, one of them for sure pick 6. Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries, 114 rushing yards. Ran all down the throats. Josh Downs, 7 for 72. Donnie Mitchell, 6 for 71. That's a guy I'm excited for. Really excited to watch Donnie Mitchell. He stepped up pretty well in Michael Pittman's absence. So that was awesome to see. But yeah, Josh Allen touchdown ties him with... He's 1 touchdown away from passing O.J. Simpson for 2nd all-time in Bills rushing career, and then he's 8 more rushing touchdowns. Passes Thurman Thomas for the most in history of Bills. But yeah, like I said, Bills just won this game bad. I really don't have much more to say on the Colts. Their season's in trouble, man. I don't know where they're gonna go from here. Truly, I mean, they just. Speaking of, it's rough, man. It just sucks. If you've heard any of the reports that have leaked out of the building, I'm not gonna say all of them just because I don't know how true some of them are, but about let's just say guys' work ethics are being questioned. We obviously saw all the stuff that happened with Anthony Richardson. A lot of questioning of the coaching and the culture of the Colts and everything. It's tough, man. But our boy Seth the Flow, Colts Fan of the Year, said it best. This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue, whether win or lose. God damn it, we love them. I still love my Colts, but so I'm gonna try to use the Lord's name in vain less. Damn it. I would say their season's probably. We aren't gonna say it's over, Johnny, but next week against the Jets is a must-win, and hey, the week after that, the Lions is a must-win game. It sucks because their schedule opens up so nicely. It's just they've had such a shit start. Texans are looking kind of bad too. Man, fuck. Eagles, Cowboys. 75 plus passing touchdowns, 50 plus rushing touchdowns. Third player of NFL history. Shout out that boy Jalen Hurts, man. This was an absolute beatdown. Cowboys with Cooper Rush. They ain't no good. You might as well give Trey Lance a chance because Trey Lance finished 4 for 6 for 21 yards and an interception. Meanwhile, Cooper Rush was 13 for 23 for 45 yards. Yeah, offense was that bad. I don't even need to go in the CeeDee Lamb stats. I feel bad for the man. It's going to be a rough season for them now at this point, especially with Dak. I think just got announced he is going to take the surgery on his hamstring, so he's done for the year. CeeDee Lamb 6 for 21. Fuck. That ain't good. Cowboys through 3 quarters had 23 passing attempts for 45 yards. So as we said, Cooper Rush finished. What did he finish with? Cooper Rush was 13 for 23. So literally, that makes more sense. Yeah, he literally got benched after the third quarter. So yeah, 23 pass attempts for 45 yards through the third quarter. 34-6 win for the Eagles, and yeah, 23 pass attempts for 45 yards for the Cowboys offense. I know the Colts are dealing with some issues, but god damn is that bad. I haven't seen numbers like that since Carson Wentz in 2020. Because I swear to God, I went to a Colts game in 2020 where they played the Patriots, and no joke, I'm pretty sure he had about. I would not be shocked. Carson Wentz probably had about 45 passing yards by the end of the third quarter. It was pretty bad. He ended up with a decent number, but it was bad. Next game, we'll move on. 49ers Bucks. The biggest story about this game was just the amount of missed kicks. It was egregious. I mean, we're talking so many missed kicks from Moody. I think he missed 3 of them. Deebo Samuel tried to choke slam the long snapper and his kicker. I mean, he was not very happy. Deebo Samuel might also be dealing with some injuries because I got people I listen to saying he's not running as hard. 10-3 score at halftime, though. Ricky Pearsall scores his first touchdown. Shout out. Man, shout out that boy Ricky Pearsall. Balling out, especially after getting shot. That's awesome to hear from him. Muff punt to open up the second half was huge for the Bucs. It leads to a Rashad White touchdown. Kittle then answers back with a awesome sideline grab for a touchdown. His game ends up staying close, like I said, because of the missed kicks. And McCaffrey ends up coming back, not doing too much. I mean, he was a quiet game for him, 13 for 39 rushing. Receiving-wise, though, 6 for 68. I don't think he scored a touchdown, sadly, in his return, so look for that next week. Brock Purdy, 25 for 36, 353, 2 touchdowns. Chef's kiss from the boy, Mr. Purdy. He has played amazing. Baker, 18 for 29, 116. Finally caught up to him not having a lot of weapons, especially when they took Cade Otton out the game. But yeah, Baker had an awesome stiff arm. What is up with this tongue tying today? Stiff arm. Awesome stiff arm. He said, "Get off me." He said to Porter, "Get off me." I already messed up the Marshawn quote because I already said the second name first. Anyway, though, he stiff-armed Mr. Maga. No, he stiff-armed. In all seriousness, no, the stiff-arm on Bosa was probably one of the coolest plays I've seen a quarterback make in a while. It just looked awkward, too, because it was like an awkwardly long time he had a stiff-arm. Like, it probably went for a second or two longer than you would think it should. It's just like, man, is he just going to run out of bounds or is he going to tackle him? He ends up completing it for first down. But biggest story, I think, of the game is Jake Moody able to kick the game-winning field goal as time expires. I believe as the time expires. I can't remember if there's like a second or two left or if the time expired. But shout out to Jake Moody, 44-yard attempt, makes all right in the world. He's able to get out of his own head. If he missed the fourth kick, I'm not gonna say he wouldn't have a job, but I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't have a job. It was one of those situations, but like I said, he ends up making it. So This game shouldn't have been as close as it was. Biggest thing for the Bucs, yeah. I think they're really gonna. I think they have a bye this week, and if that's the case, they're really gonna enjoy it to be able to get Mike Evans, hopefully back by. Yeah, they get a bye this week, and hopefully they'll get Mike Evans back next week. And they got a nice little run of Giants, Panthers, Raiders, Chargers, Cowboys, Panthers. Chargers probably realistically the only team that could give them trouble. I mean, there's a man that's crazy. So we're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They might win 6 of their last 7 because we got 2 games against the Panthers, a game against the Giants, a game against the Saints, game against the Raiders. At Chargers, at Cowboys, at Panthers, home for the rest of these, at Giants as well. Hey, Bucs might just be able to go on a little bit of run. That's a team we're going to have to keep an eye on, especially with Bucky Irving kind of emerging himself as well. Moving on. What other games we got to talk about? Saints, Falcons, them dirty birds, baby. Younghoe Koo, another guy who missed a shit ton of kicks. Bijan Robinson, 20 carries for 116 yards. Shout out to Calvin Kamara, being honored as a captain for the Saints. I mean, that's just a guy who's done it right. I mean, it sucks for him because he's probably not going to win a Super Bowl in his career. Now, basically, assuming he stays with the Saints as well, I definitely don't think he will because they got a few years rebuilding. But he did his career right. I really think he's been the heart and soul of New Orleans, and he's going to be. They're probably, like I said, for the end of his career, they extended him. He got the captain. I mean, it's. Shout out to Alvin Kamara, man. I feel so bad for him what's happened with them this year. But yeah, Derek Carr, not a horrible game. 269, 2 touchdowns. The biggest story of the game, though, is MVS, man. First game with the Saints after getting traded. 3 catches, 109 yards. 2 of them things. He went to Kane and got 2 extra toes. He got 2 touchdowns for him on 3 catches. I mean, that's a pretty elite stat line. 3 catches, 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Can't do much better than that. I'm just trying to think if there's too much to talk about. I mean, I just don't know if this game's going to matter too much for the season. It does. Given that Falcons an extra loss, though, from the Saints, that will help, obviously, the Bucs. But, I mean, it just felt like the Falcons, if they had another timeout or 2, probably win this game the way they were driving at the end of the game. But missed kicks screwed them. And like I said, new coach theory, Darren Rizzi is able to win for the Saints. And, I mean, it's... Like I said, we knew this was probably going to happen. We talked about it on the Pickem show where I'm going to pick the Falcons to win, but the Saints are probably going to at least cover because new coach theory. Probably going to win outright, but I picked the Falcons for the simple fact of... In Pickem, I just want to be with a lot of the family because I didn't think many people would pick the Saints. But yeah, new coach theory prevails there. I want to see if there's any other side notes. There was, I think, a few things I wanted to bring up in this game. Mooney had a big play in the game. The Saints started up 10-0 right away. MVS, we talked about that. Saints blocking a field goal to close half. Excuse me. Saints blocking a field goal to close half is probably one of the biggest plays of the game for them as well. New coach theory, maybe. It proves it once again. I mean, like I said, there's not too much to go into this game. I mean, Falcons, we expect them to be good the rest of the season. Saints, good win under their new head coach, but usually the track record says after the first win, the cliff gets very, very steep. We'll talk Commanders. We got 2 exciting games to talk about. Steelers, Commanders. Russ gets the nice first touchdown to Pickens on a very, very nice throw. I mean, Russ to Pickens was very, very elite yesterday. I think Pickens has 2 touchdowns as well? Or just the 1? He just had the 1, but 5 for 91 and 1. Jalen Warren was back as well. I don't think he was rushing as good. Him and Najee end up splitting carries. That makes sense why Najee's over didn't hit. That sucks. Jaden Daniels' first game kind of just coming to earth, which, fantasy-wise at least, because, I mean, he had 202 passing yards. He had no touchdowns, no rushing touchdowns really, but Terry McLaurin, 5 for 113. But the biggest thing that sucked is, I mean, they got down to the 1-yard line 3 times, and the Commanders ran the ball 3 times. So that part sucked as a guy who lost in fantasy basically by like 5-6 points. Needed you. So the biggest thing is the Steelers have a wide... This is crazy. The Steelers had a wide-open punt play. Apparently they ran it in practice. The guy caught it in practice every single time. And it's like, of course he missed it in the game now. But I'm no joke. I saw this fake punt being ran. The second the guy... he was so open, the fact that the punter just stepped back and threw it. And the guy... I'm telling you, the guy is so open that I literally just clicked my pen. It's like, all right, I need to write this down in the notes. They actually got this right away. It's really cool. Look back up. He dropped it. He ended up dropping. It was great. No joke. I'm sitting here writing damn, I can't believe they got... Why the fuck? The Falcons got the ball. Sorry, why the Commanders got the ball? And then Commanders end up scoring a touchdown very next play. But the Commanders end up muffing a punt, which led to immediate red zone that leads to a Fryermuth touchdown for the Steelers. So that ends up evening out towards the game. But McLaurin big play leads to a McNichols touchdown. The Steelers answer with a Najee touchdown. I mean, there was back and forth. And this is where I felt like the game might flip is Jalen Warren fumbles with 7 minutes to go on goal line. Like, he was going to score, go in. They fumble on the goal line. So it's like, oh. Okay, so the Commanders are going to win this. Commanders are up 27-21 at this point. They're not able to do too much. End up giving the ball back to the Steelers. And then big old Mike Williams from the Jets. He gets traded over first week. Catches a bomb to make it 28-27 Steelers. Steelers end up winning the game. Steelers, man, the way they won the game was crazy too. Feel so bad for the kid, rookie out of Illinois. The former defensive lineman, man. You got to hold that water. I mean, it's understandable why he jumped offside. You still don't want him to do it, but it's at least understandable. 4th and 1. I mean, he's 4th and 1. He's the nose tackle right up on the ball, so some would say he should see it. He obviously should, but I mean, he's sitting there. He needs to be first one off the ball. He's like, it's 4th and 1. I got to get this stop. If we don't get the stop, we lose the game. You just feel bad for the guy there because so much had to be running through his head, especially as a rookie. And then Russell Wilson does what Russell Wilson does, coming up doing his. Everyone knew it. You knew it at home. I knew it at home. Russell Wilson's going to do his fake cadence BS, and they're probably going to end up punting it. They just might maybe go for it, but they'll probably punt it because obviously they faked the punt earlier in the game. I'm sure that had that effect to it. Russ going through the cadence, guy jumps off sides. Game over. And it's just like, man, Justin Steelers, man, we took their over at the beginning of the year, and they have been, even with the QB issues, I mean, they look great. I think I'm to the point now with the Steelers. They look like this. I'll say the same old Steelers, but they look like an improved version of the Steelers. When Justin Fields a quarterback, with Russell the quarterback, all of a sudden it's like, dude, this team might be legit, especially with how great the defense played. Because I mean, the defense really held Jaden Daniels intact for most of the game. I mean, 113 of his 202 passing yards were to Terry McLaurin, and he got no rushing. He got no touchdowns at all accounted for him. I mean, he just basically they ran it in 3 times. So the Steelers played very, very well. Very, very good game by them. I mean, this was a fun game. Another one of those games where it's like, you hate to lose it, but can't be mad about it. Man, we really got to talk about these guys, huh? It's about time. The inevitable boys. Shout out to Vele for getting his first touchdown. Score with 14 left in the second quarter. This game had no scoring at all. A Cortland Sutton bomb makes it 14-3 Broncos. Chiefs, man. This looks like the whole game. It's like, man, Chiefs are going to Chief again. And then all of a sudden it's like, the Chiefs might actually lose this. They have a Harrison Butker field goal at 9:06. Travis Kelce right before half scores a touchdown. Then it's just 2 more field goals in the second half. The defense just locks up. Defense holds tight. Broncos aren't able to score at all in the second half. And basically it comes down to Chiefs give the ball to the Broncos. Broncos get the ball. I'll just read you these plays. This is the final drive of the game for the Broncos. We got 8 plays, 8 rush yards, 8 passing yards. Is this the... Maybe this isn't the play. Oh, that's the play to start 4th quarter. Excuse me. This should be the last one. Yes, this is the last one. My apologies. So there is 10:40. So there's 5:50. There's 5:57 left in the game. So with 5:57 left, they get a 2-yard rush by Audric Estime, and they are right now currently at the Denver 42, so they're about midfieldish. Bo Nix pass complete to left for 6 yards. Bo Nix pass complete for 3 yards. Audric Estime rush for 3 yards. Bo Nix pass complete right for 6 yards. Audric Estime rush for 6 yards. This is at 3:13 left in the game clock at this point, and they are currently at the Kansas City 40. Bo Nix pass complete for 3 yards. Audric Estime rush for 1 yard. Bo Nix complete for 13 yards to Cortland Sutton. Audric Estime 2-yard rush. Audric Estime 1-yard rush. So at this point, it's... So before they even get to that point, though, so it was 3rd and 6. Bo completes a pass for 13 yards, and there's 1:53 left. And this is where the Chiefs have no timeouts, basically. And you're sitting there, it's like, oh, shit, the Chiefs just lost, man. Holy shit, the Chiefs just lost to the Broncos again. And it literally felt like the Raiders game last year, where it's like, how'd they lose this game? And sure enough, I mean, it's a 35-yard field goal. Bo Nix basically rushes backwards for 3 yards, gets them to the spot right where they need to be. Which he just took a knee, basically took him to the middle of the field. And Will Lutz gets it blocked by Leo Chenal. I mean, and in all game, if you listen to Chenal talk about it after game, he's like, I was able to beat my guy multiple times throughout the game, so I knew that I had a chance to get it. I mean, it's just Chiefs are going to Chiefs, man. They win 16-14, find a way to win again, even when their offense isn't got held down by a really good defense in a got held down by a really good defense. They still find a way to win. I mean, it's unbelievable. They do it every week. Every single week they do it. I just can't. It's frustrating, man. If you're a Chiefs hater, you got to be angry. I mean, they're inevitable. They keep doing it. I mean, unbelievable. We'll talk about them a little bit when we go into divisions. Vikings win 12-7 over the Jaguars. Mac Jones' rushing touchdown for QB sneak with 3:48 left in the first quarter is the only touchdown of the game. Hella field goals, just horrible. I mean, this is just bad football. I don't know how the Vikings very well could have lost this game. They come out with the win. I mean, there's truly nothing to take away from this game. It was just an ugly, disgusting game all around. I mean, Justin Jefferson's going to be passing Torrey Holt here soon, I think, on the I forget what list. I didn't actually see that. I didn't get that part written down. But keep an eye out for Justin Jefferson. He is currently, so he got only 48. So 48 minus 103, whatever that number is, like 55. I think he's 55 away from passing Torrey Holt on the Vikings. Might be some type of receiving list, so keep an eye out for that. That's for sure going to happen next game. Yeah, I'm just reading my notes. That game just fucking sucked. Let me just put it that way. Very disgusting, low-scoring football game. But moving on now, Bears lose 19-3 to the Patriots. Basically gets the Bears have their offensive staff fired. Shane Waldron's out. I think the QB coach is going to be calling plays. But man, I mean, the Bears' offense just looked bad. Jalen Johnson came out and ripped the Bears for lack of effort. I mean, there's just a lot of questions. I mean, they just look bad. They can't protect Caleb Williams for anything. Meanwhile, Drake May, boy, actually looks pretty good. I ain't gonna lie. Polk gets his first touchdown of his NFL career, shut out. It's 13-3, pretty much going into half, and then Patriots defense just locked down the Bears. Biggest thing is with Caleb Williams. It's like, yeah, they got a long way to go. I feel bad for him though. I mean, they gotta build. I agree with what I heard. You probably should have done similar to what the Lions did. Hey, let's build some offensive line. Let's build some stability around him, and then get the quarter. I mean, it's tough, man. They could have honestly kept Justin Fields and probably had better success this season if they would have built around the offensive lines. But obviously, Caleb Williams will be a good quarterback for the future, hopefully for them. He just has a lot of learning to do. He looks rough. Drake May, 15 for 25, 184. Caleb Williams, 16 for 30 for 120. I mean, Drake May doesn't have nearly the weapons that Caleb Williams does. Basically has a similar offensive line. He looks good. Caleb Williams looks okay. There's just room for improvement. I'm not going to judge these teams too hard. These are both two pretty bad teams at this point, man. It's just tough for the Bears, man. But like I said, they at least fired Shane Waldron, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on how the Bears bounce back a little bit this week. But, yeah, they got some shit to figure out for sure. They got some shit to figure out. This team is just rough. Chargers-Titans. Chargers win 27-17. I don't really have too much to take away from this game. This was just a good win by the Chargers. Titans at least look like they somewhat had some life. Will Levis to Ridley on a 50-yarder makes it 7-3 earlier on, and then defense just held them down. Chargers did just enough on offense to win. They had some play. It felt like this actually felt like just a semi-normal football game where it's like we expected the Chargers to win and cover. The Titans at least looked somewhat like they had a pulse. The defense looked decent. Chargers looked pretty good on defense. The rushing game, Gus Edwards looked fast again. That was something really awesome to see. He had 10 for 55. Dobbins had 15 for 50. So it's nice to get that tandem back. Receiver-wise, I mean, Justin Herbert was 14 for 18. He didn't need to pass it too much. Just felt like a great win overall. And, man, Harbaugh's truly, the more I listen to that guy talk, the more I just watch him in interviews, it's like, man, he's an awesome dude. I'd love to play under him. And it's just, you can tell the boys really are buying in and everything. This Chargers team's completely flipped. They gave up 63 points to the Raiders. And if you remember last year, Brandon Staley said, my message wasn't getting through. We were getting blown off the field. And very next game, they were down 63-0 at halftime pretty much. Yeah, that team is, that almost feels like a lifetime ago with how this team is now. The Chargers are going to be a really good team. They're going to be a fun team to watch out for in the future, and this for the Titans. they're kind of poopy. Speaking of poopy, the Jets, 31-6, ass beating of the Cardinals. Kyler had 16 straight completion, which tied a franchise record, would then end up with 17. I think he finished 22-24. I can't remember what the record ended up being. The Jets had 0 passes of 10 yards until 7:54 left in the fourth, or 7:57 left in the fourth quarter, excuse me. Jets just look horrible. I don't know what the hell's going on with the team. I'm tired. I'm fucking sick of them. I'm picking the Colts this week. I'm taking the money line. I'm more sick of the Jets than I am the Colts, and the Colts are my damn team. I just don't get why nothing's working with the Jets. Their defense looked horrible. Kyler Murray, and also in their defense, Kyler Murray had probably the best game of his career. One of the best games by far, for sure. Like that, 22 for 24, 266, 1 touchdown. Just seemed to do whatever he wants. Trey Benson looked pretty good as well. Jets are just confusing, man. They got some shit to figure out. Ever since they fired Saleh, it's been shaky road. They really needed this win to get the run going. Now it just feels like they're going to finish middle of the pack, probably screw themselves out of a decent pick, and it just feels like they're going to be delaying the inevitable of whenever Rodgers retires. And if they're going to look like this, at this point, they're just delaying the inevitable of when does Rodgers retire and when do we restart our new look. Because, they got a lot to improve offensive line-wise. I mean, even he doesn't look like average to below average. Rodgers does. I don't know if he just doesn't feel comfortable or whatnot. It's just not. You thought the Jets, they fixed one problem, give themselves 2 or 3 more. It's same old Jets. Shout out the Cardinals, though. Massive win for them. We're 6-4 and now first place in the NFC West. And on pace to pretty much get, Cardinals and Commanders, man. Shout out to those 2 teams. Those 2 teams are by far my 2 biggest shockers for this year. I thought the Cardinals would be decent. To okay. I didn't think there'd be anything like this, so. Man, we're going to talk about the Monday night kind of stinker because this score was a lot closer than it looks. At 23-15, Dolphins win. Dolphins just beat the Rams' ass. The Rams couldn't do anything on offense the whole first quarter for sure, and then it took ended late into the second quarter to finally get some field goals. Biggest thing for the Rams, they just couldn't finish drives. They get in the red zone 4 times, end up with 4 field goals. Their kickers kicking multiple 50-yard field goals. Their offensive line just couldn't protect him. You thought it might be able to because they're getting a few of the guys back. I thought the defensive line would affect Tua a little bit more than it did. This just sucked because I thought this was going to be an offensive game. It was kind of the opposite. I thought this would be an offensive game. Thought there'd be some passing. Thought there'd be some good passing props because of the play off the run game. And the run game was average. 12 for 37 for Achane, 1 for 18 for Malik Washington. You got Tyreek Hill 2 for 11, Jalen Wright 5 for 3, and then passing wise 3 for 57, 3 for 45. You look at the Rams, Williams 15 for 62, passing wise Nakua 9 for 98, Cooper Kupp 7 for 80, and then you got 5 for 34, 3 for 25. Matt Stafford hit his passing over. Did I hit the passing touchdowns for us? Did Cooper Kupp hit his long? Long was 19. Shit, he just missed that. It was just. Especially betting-wise, this was one of the weekend where props didn't do well at all. This game just summed it up, where it's just you got Malik Washington scoring his first touchdown of the year. I don't think very many people bet on him at all, and I doubt if anyone bet him to score first. Then you got Tyreek Hill scored, so it's hey, that's a name we know. We got him. Yeah, hey, we got a name we got. And then past that, the Rams kicked 5 field goals. Get no touchdowns. Yeah. Shout out to Dolphins, 3-6. They have a pretty decent schedule moving forward. We got games against the Raiders and Patriots with both stuff they should win. Then they get the Packers on Thanksgiving. Then you got Jets, Texans, 49ers, Browns, Jets. So the end of the season gets really, really rough. But you get the 5-6. Anything's possible. You're looking at 9-10 wins for the wild card. We'll talk about that here after this last game. Which, let's just do that before we even talk about some wild card stuff. Lions, Texans. Banger alert. I won't lie. I was fighting some. Your boy was fighting to stay awake during this game after a long day of. I got up pretty early Saturday to do some stuff. And then Sunday I had to get up pretty early. Saturday I got early. I think, what was it? We were golfed a little bit, so it got up at 5, hit the gym. Then hit the gym before our tea time at 8. Your boy was tired. Not a lot. Thankfully, Saturday games weren't too crazy, so kind of went to bed semi-decent. Woke up about 7. Nothing. Like I said, nothing crazy, but I just didn't get the sleep I needed to. So it was about I missed, I'd say, I didn't see Mechie score. So I probably missed about from 3 minutes into the second quarter until Probably about where David Montgomery scored. I saw that touchdown. So I missed a good end of the second half, then saw most of the fourth quarter. But, I mean, Jared Goff, baby. Jared Goof. He showed up for a little bit, but they ended up still winning. 15 to 30, 240. 2 extra toasts, 5 coleslaw. Just kidding. 5 interceptions. If you can't tell, I'm not a big coleslaw from Canes guy. Made that apparent now. But 5 interceptions is horrible when you have only 4 in the year. Jahmyr Gibbs hit a rushing over again for us, 19 for 71. Shout out. Didn't get the touchdown, though. Amon-Ra scores the 7th time to set a franchise record for 7 straight touchdowns. So we're going to keep betting on him until he doesn't score anymore, obviously, because I think the Lions are going to try to go out of their way to do that. Sam Laporta scores. I think the biggest story about this game, though, is how this game took over. So you got Joe Mixon scoring early. Touchdown for them. Texans go up 10-0. Then you get a Sam Laporta touchdown. Then you get a field goal, touchdown with 16 seconds left. Catch made by Mechie. Shout out to him. Still crazy that he's getting buried on the depth chart because of how many receivers they got there. We're looking at 23-10, 23-7 at halftime. Yeah, 23-7 at halftime, and then right as they come out of half, you basically hear, this leads to the David Montgomery touchdown. You basically hear the halftime interview where Dan Campbell's going over some of the cliches and all that, and he's like, we just need to get a turnover. We just need our guys to get a turnover, just going stuff, and it's like, we're going to make it happen, blah, blah, and as he's talking about it, they get a turnover. Leads to a David Montgomery touchdown. Then no scoring left in the third quarter. Texans get shut out the whole second half. Fourth quarter, you get an Amon-Ra touchdown. Then you get a field goal, 58 yards by Bates that snicks it in, and then Bates snicks another 50-yarder in for the win. I'll admit, that was awesome because, by the way, Alex Highsmith, lower ankle sprain, no broken bones, possibly out 2 to 3 weeks, not season ending, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome for the Steelers, and hey, good thing they traded for the extra pass rusher, right? It's funny, everyone called them crazy. It's like, why would they do that? Why would they do that? And I was even kind of like, I don't know why they need 3 of them, but hey, why not? And then sure enough, hey, one of them gets hurt now. It looked like genius. It looked like geniuses again. But yeah, overall, man, shout out to Bates for nailing 250-yarders to give them basically the win. They bounced back from being down in the depths. Lions were able to bounce back. Awesome win for them. And, I mean, heartbreaking loss for the Texans, who, yet again, like I said, I'm pissed. Well, this leads into the division talk very well. Pisses me off so much. You look at the AFC South, Texans are 6-4, Colts are 4-6, Titans are 2-7, Jags are 2-8. I mean, truly, the Colts could have won this division. They split games with the Texans. They're only a game back instead of 2 games back. Fuck, man. It's just so frustrating what's going on with the Colts. But yeah, you're looking at that for the AFC South. AFC West, Chiefs 9-0 on top, Chargers 6-3. Then you got the Broncos 5-5, Raiders holding down the bottom at 2-7. AFC West might get 3 playoffs teams in. That's going to be fascinating if the Broncos are able to sneak their way in. Because I think at this point, the Chiefs and Chargers for sure are going to be in my opinion. This is going to be a tough one. You got the Steelers 7-2, Baltimore Ravens 7-3, Bengals 4-6, Browns 2-7, and then AFC East you got Bills 8-2, Dolphins 3-6, Jets 3-7, Patriots 3-7. So if I had to guess, wild card wise for the AFC, if you're looking at it, shockingly enough, the Steelers are leading their division at 7-2. Those goddamn Steelers, man, they're looking great. Then you got the Baltimore. So you got Baltimore at the first wild card spot, 7-3. Chargers second one, 6-3. Then you got the Broncos at the third one, 5-5. And then behind them you got the Colts and Bengals at 4-6. And you got the Dolphins at 3-7. 3-6. Jets at 3-7. Patriots at 3-7. So crazy enough, Colts are just 1 game out of the wild card. Don't know how that. Just shows you how NFL can be wild, man. You feel like the season's over. Meanwhile, the whole time it's been not too shabby. Yeah, overall, when it comes to the AFC, I mean, we're probably looking at Bengals and Dolphins. I mean, I got to give it. The Colts realistically have a chance they can figure out these offensive issues, but especially because their schedule's actually pretty decent. But we're probably looking at I wouldn't probably say the Jets, but Dolphins, Bengals, Colts. I mean, we've probably got AFC South. AFC is probably set in the playoffs, if we're being honest. I mean, Dolphins, I mean, we read the end of their schedule. That's going to be tough. I mean, unless the Bengals or Colts find a way to sneak into that last spot with the Broncos, I mean, we're pretty much going to be set with the playoffs. Like I said, 9 or 10 wins pretty much secures you that 7th wild card spot. So, that's going to be something to keep an eye on because it's getting close. And then you look at the NFC East, Eagles on top, 7-2, Commanders 7-3, Cowboys 3-6, Giants 2-8. Those two seem done. Lions are 8-1. Vikings 7-2. Packers 6-3. Bears 4-5. Tough one for the Bears there with how good that division is. Falcons 6-4. Bucks 4-6. Saints 3-7. Panthers 3-7. Speaking of tough. Then we got the Wild West. The Wild NFC West. 6-4 Cardinals, 5-4 49ers, 4-5 Rams, and 4-5 Seahawks. That's crazy. That feels like it's anybody's division still, except for the Rams. And it's gonna be a tough road for the Rams and Seahawks. They've had enough losses now where you just look at them and kind of shake your head like, man, y'all just feel like you blew way too many games to give you guys a chance. Really, really sucks. If you're a guy who has some Rams futures that you might have placed potentially last week or the week before all this happened, that's tough. But yeah, I think that's going to probably do that for that. Let's see if there's any NFL news, and we'll look at... Oh yeah, we looked at divisions. Let's see if there's any... I don't think there's any big news. We talked about the Dak thing. Tomlin not worried about Deontay Johnson. Not worried about Deontay. Ravens got more significant pieces. Sounds like a little bit of a diss. But I know it's probably not. When you read the headline, it sounds like a diss, but I'm sure knowing Tomlin that it was all compliments from him. We talked about it. Bears fired. Sorry, that fan was making me a little bit cold. Fans fired Shane Waldron. Not very shocking with how bad their season's been. I just can't believe they did it in the middle of the season. I thought it was definitely going to be an end-of-season thing. Pacheco returns to practice, which would be awesome. I'm assuming that means it opens up his 21-day window, so expect him back in the next 3 weeks. Tyreek Hill says, don't count us out. Don't count them out. Moving on. I don't think there's anything big that we missed. Parsons unconcerned with... Micah Parsons, he had a lot to say. He had a lot to say about the Mike McCarthy situation. I haven't got a chance to read up on it since yesterday, see if there's been any response. I'm sure Micah's come out and said, yeah, that's probably taken out of context a little bit. And if it wasn't, PR probably will help him say that. But, past that, Bengals are bringing in Leonard Fournette for a workout. I don't even think that's going to become much of anything. Jared Goff probably not winning the MVP because of those interceptions. That's not news. That's just me seeing those stats again like, God damn. Colts still dealing with QB bullshit. Kenny Moore came out and said some of the teammates are not working as hard as possible. We talked about that. Shout out Darren Rizzi for clogging the toilet before the morning. Yeah. Drake May gets... Oh, yeah, we're good. Yeah. So we're going to move on to some college football now. Basically, we're going to run through the scores real quick and then just talk college football playoff and Heisman and end it. I mean, college football is putting on some bangers. Big 12 just had absolute chaos happen. So I'm very excited to talk about that. So we're going to talk college football. We'll probably do a score recap. So I'm just writing down this last little thing to remind myself. We'll do score recap, Heisman, and so we'll do score recap and college football playoff in one because we're kind of going to be bleeding those together. But we're going to move on now. East Carolina covered for us Thursday like we expected. Tuesday, Wednesday, a lot of action. Shout out the MAC, baby. Giving us some stuff to watch during the weekday until college basketball came back, and even with some college basketball. California beats Wake Forest. Memphis beats Rice. Barely, though. I mean, Memphis doesn't cover. I mean, the fact that Memphis is 8-2 and not covering in like half these games is ridiculous. Frustrating. I think I've bet on them twice and they didn't cover. I'm glad. I almost bet on them this week and now seeing that score, I'm so glad I didn't. Iowa lose 17-20 UCLA. That's a heartbreaking loss. I'm not going to be touching them the rest of the season. I can tell you that much right now. New Mexico ends up beating San Diego State. I think that might have been an upset. I can't remember who's favoring that. Purdue, 45-0. The fact that Ryan Walters went for a field goal, I forget at what point in the game. They were down a lot, but he went for a field goal instead of scoring a touchdown just so he didn't get shut out. That tells you all you need to know about Purdue is they're trying to kick field goals not to get shut out in games when they're getting blown out. Florida State did not hit their team total of 8.5. They lost 52-3. I just thought about shout out my boys. I think the Cover 3 podcast said that. They cover college football. They were talking about some of these games as well, and they're like, they even let Rudy score a touchdown for Notre Dame. Which, I mean, dude, they got pick 6 late. It was a ass beating of Florida State for sure. They basically cleaned out staff on their team. And Norvell's for sure probably going to stay for next year. But, yeah, everyone else, they got cleaned out. Texas 49-17 over Florida. Excuse me. Boston College beats Syracuse 37-31. Rutgers upsets Minnesota. I can't stand Minnesota, man. I might never bet on a Minnesota game again, because I swear I've lost. They have 4 losses, and I've lost 3 of them betting on them, and I'm also bet against them 3 other times. They've won those 3 games that I bet against them. So they're just a team I just seemingly can't figure out. I take them this week thinking, okay, they're going to be the Rutgers team that's been dealing with some injuries. I don't know where they're at to this point in the season, if they're still fighting or whatnot, and them boys still fighting. Let me tell you what. Miami beat. Oh, just kidding. You thought Miami beat Georgia Tech. They should have, according to the spread. 10.5-point favorites fall down. I don't know where they're going to drop to in the college football playoffs. Are still probably going to be a 4 seed. That doesn't change. I'm curious where they're going to drop in the rankings. I don't even know if they moved, technically. Let's see. Standings. So can I just see the top 25 standing? They dropped to 12. Okay, I forgot. They did drop them a good amount. They dropped to 12. Indiana moved up to number 5. Let's go them. Hoosiers. Shout out the Hoosiers, man, for real. And like I said, though, Miami does lose to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, man, under Brent Key. This team, we talked about them early in the year. They hit our win total so early in the season. I've honestly forgot about that we had futures on this team. And it's just like, man. They have, I think Brent Key has a better record against top, 10 teams than he does against non-ranked teams. ACC, chaotic. Georgia Tech, the Chaos Kings. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to give them the Chaos King title just yet, but, man, they look good. I'll just put it that way. They look good in that game. We're able to get a lot of the run game going and just able to, they're able to beat Miami. They had Cam Ward kind of held down a little bit, but for most part, I mean, Damian Martinez, 15 for 81. Shout out to Georgia Tech, man. They just won the game outright. There's no other way to put it. They just won the game. They get a strip sack to win it. Shout out. Huge, massive upset. Navy beats South Florida. Huge win for teams that beat Navy. West Virginia upset Cincinnati. Bad loss for Cincinnati. That's tough. That is a tough game to lose. Sorry, I messed up my score thing. But yeah, that's Cincinnati. You can't lose that game. Liberty beats Middle Tennessee. UConn covers for 2 minutes of this game against UAB, but those 2 minutes are all that matter. They got us paid. They win 31-23. Georgia loses to Ole Miss. Probably the biggest win. Definitely the biggest win in the Lane Kiffin era. Might be the biggest win in Ole Miss history. Very excited to see how the college football playoff looks tonight because of that. That win, because there's a chance that Georgia's still gonna be ahead of Ole Miss. So I'm very excited to see what that ends up coming out to. Clemson beats Virginia Tech, not shocking there. Duke beats North Carolina State. Indiana wins 20-15 over Michigan. Not too shocked that they covered. There's basically one sequence where they had a chance to take the lead and go up huge, and they end up having to punt it away. Michigan ends up scoring, and that's when you kind of feel like, all right, so this is gonna be a tight game until it's out. But shout out Indiana, able to get a huge win over Michigan, move up to number 5 in the rankings, and hey, you can bet your ass College Game Day is going to Ohio State, and we're going to see Ohio State Indiana 2 weeks as one of the game of the week. Sucks it's a noon game, man. Why are they putting that shit at noon? Make that a night game. Army wins 14-3 over North Texas. Have a awesome two defensive picks in the end zone. Awesome by them. And there's one drive. I just want to lead this. They don't have drives. That sucks. Army in the fourth quarter had a 21-play drive that went 94 yards. And here we go. 21 plays, 94 yards, 13:54 to close out the game. They scored a touchdown with it. And that touchdown would end up being... there's, I think, 11 minutes left in the game when they scored a touchdown at that point. Yeah, 11:44 left in the game when they scored a touchdown at that point, but I think the soul was taken. Shout out to Army, who at this point, hey, if Army went out, they went out and beat Notre Dame. Good chance we got Army in the playoffs? San Jose beats Oregon State. Really mad at them. Bet San Jose there. Really wanted to give it out and bet it, and I just, like a silly boy, stayed away. 45-36. Kansas versus Iowa State. This game was another game where it was a blowout. It was ugly early. Kansas State was up big early, and then I'm assuming took the foot off the gas a little bit, but man, dude. Yeah. Kansas basically, if you count the pick six that Iowa State threw, Iowa State scored in 4 straight possessions. 3 of those being in the fourth quarter, counting the pick six. So, yeah. Tough loss for Iowa State, but we're going to talk about that in a minute because that had important factors for us. UTEP beats Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State fires their coach. A lot of people upset about it. I think I kind of agree because don't need to do it at the middle of the season, and now a lot of their best players are going to enter the transfer portal on a team that's already kind of bad. Nice job. Colorado, 41-27 win over Texas Tech. We're going to bring up that game here in a minute when we talk about Big 12, but wow. What a game. Tulane beats Tulane, Tulane, Army, Boise State. Those are the group of 5 teams to keep their eyes on the most right now. They win 52-6. Vanderbilt loses 28-7 against South Carolina. Maybe that's over. Jacksonville State, baby. Took it to overtime. They're able to win the game 44-37 for the Futures. We have Futures on them to win the conference. Shout out, baby. We needed that win bad. And that's basically... Oh, it's not going to do it. Sorry, I forgot we have a lot more games. Oregon wins 39-18. They just don't cover, but they still win big. Tennessee wins 33-14. TCU beats Oklahoma State 38-13. Oklahoma State's just ass. I'll admit, I'll be first one hand up. Them and Virginia Tech, Iowa. I whiffed huge on those 3. I whiffed huge on those 3 making the playoffs. Yeah, they all kind of stunk it up this year. Arizona State beats UCF. Alabama just runs all over LSU. Shout out Jalen Milroe. That dog. He ran all of them. I mean, dude. I'm going to read you the stats, man. 12 for 18, 109. No touchdowns, no interceptions. 12 rushes. All right. 185 yards. 4 touchdowns. As a quarterback, Jalen Milroe, when his legs are truly special. Missouri keeps her keeps her college football playoff hopes alive, as Eli Drinkwitz says. I don't know how true that is. Missouri's another team that's like, man, they're another dead man walking team at this point. South Carolina, Mississippi State, Arkansas to win it. They went out and they make the SEC title game. I'll give them a shout out. But yeah, they've been another frustrating team this year where they just somehow they're 7-2. I feel like they've lost 7 games this year and they're 7-2. They've just been that frustrating to bet on. Boise State kind of walks through Nevada game, wins 28-21. They don't cover there. I think they're 24-point favorites. Penn State wins 35-6 against Pitt. Now it's chugging there. Virginia upsets Pittsburgh. That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough loss for them. UNLV barely beats Hawaii by 2. This is the game I want to talk about most. BYU Utah, the Holy War. That was holding. Hilarious move by the AD to come out in your first year, especially since you have to talk all those people and everything. Sucks for Utah, man. That's just a tough one to lose. You hate to lose it. I mean, and one more thing. Hey, they only had the ball at the 19, I think, after that PI. You still got to drive a good 56 yards to get a stop, but it felt like maybe after that PI, it just kind of broke the seal that broke the camel's back. Washington State wins 49-28, but yeah, biggest reason why this BYU loss is huge. We're going to quickly go over some conference standings for some of these conferences. We'll talk just 4 or 5 teams at the top. We're going to save the Big 12 for last. We're going to go over let's be real. Let's go over the Power 4. Army, Tulane. Remember, we got to watch Army and Tulane for the AAC, American Athletic Conference. Those are going to be the 2 biggest ones to keep an eye on because it's even like actually in conference. Yeah. The Navy has 1 loss in conference as well, so they might be able to fight their way into the conference picture as well. But right now it's Tulane and Army for the AAC. ACC, even with that loss, I mean, Miami's setting themselves decent. It's between right now Clemson, SMU, Clemson, and Miami who's going to win the title game, or who's going to go to the title game. I'm assuming Miami's going to find their way. My guess is Miami, SMU, just based on what Clemson's shown me so far. But I'm curious to see how that actually ends up working out. Big Ten wise, you got Indiana at the top of the conference, which is hilarious. I think they literally just. I think is that an alphabetical order thing? Is that why? Because I's ahead of O? Because Oregon's the first team in the country. Why are they not first? Or maybe it's because Indiana's been in the Big Ten longer. To be like, let's give them some prestige. But Indiana, Oregon, both undefeated in conference. Ohio State, Penn State, both with 1 loss. Then you got Iowa and Minnesota, the sorts of 3 lost teams. Dude, Indiana plays Ohio State. Ohio State, basically, Ohio State wins that game, they're going to be in the Big Ten title game. If Indiana wins that, they're in the Big Ten title game. Oregon's guaranteed in the Big Ten title game. They got Wisconsin and Washington left with the bye in there. I think they're going to win out. I don't see any reason they don't win out. Ohio State, they got Indiana, Michigan, and Northwestern. They should win all those. Indiana, obviously, is going to be the tough one, but they should beat Michigan. They should beat Michigan. If they don't, though, that's a 3-loss Ohio State team, assuming they lose to Indiana. Man, it could get messy. And then Indiana has Ohio State and Purdue, which they're going to blast Purdue. I can't wait to see the spread of that game. IU at home for Purdue. This is going to be ugly. I mean, they're going to. I mean, they might. They might beat Purdue by like 80-0. So I'm going to be very excited to watch this because I think it's basically between Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon. Penn State might have a say for the Big Ten title game, but in my opinion, Indiana, Ohio State in 2 weeks. That is the pregame to the. Sorry about that. No, but like I said, I think pretty much Indiana, Ohio State is going to be the Big Ten championship part 1. Or no, Big Ten preview is probably a better word. It's like a fight. This is going to be before the main event of the Big Ten championship. We got Indiana versus Ohio State in 2 weeks. Can't wait. And then that leaves us lastly with the Big 12. Yeah, give me that Colorado at number 2. We got BYU who survives. They're number 1, 6-0 in conference. Colorado number 2 at 5-1 in conference. And you got 4-2 Iowa State, 4-2 Kansas State, 4-2 Arizona State, 4-2 West Virginia. But record-wise, we're probably looking at Kansas State, Iowa State, Arizona State. Those 3. So right now it's BYU, Colorado, and then you got Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona State. If Colorado wins out, and they got games against Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. That Kansas and Utah game, those are going to be. Those aren't by any means gimmies, but they should win all those games. They win all those games. We're talking BYU, Colorado, because BYU they got Kansas, Arizona State, Houston, so that will kind of settle itself out as well. But yeah, BYU loses one of these games, that opens up the door for a lot of teams. But as of right now, it's BYU, Colorado. And man, as a guy who's had some Colorado futures riding. It's been a lot of fun because we're looking at the college football playoffs right now. You got Oregon, Ohio State, Georgia. I mean, we talked about it last week. All those same teams are in. Nothing's really changed just yet. But we can look at some odds-wise. We'll talk basically that real quick, and then we'll talk Heisman just to end it. Heisman conversation will be like 2 minutes, I think. Because of that Cam Ward loss, it changed up a lot of odds. So I just want to bring up the odds. And we got to do my weekly. Who are the 5 guys I think are making it to New York? But like I said, college football playoffs. So we're looking at teams to make the college football playoffs now. We don't need to talk about all these teams. We're going to talk about minimum. You got to be minus like 120. So these are all teams that are above so I'm talking like worse than minus 120. So like minus 130 and above. We got Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Georgia, Indiana, who's minus 500 now. Alabama, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Notre Dame, Boise, Miami, Florida. All these teams are minus 130. Every other team about to name will be plus money, but man, Indiana, that's going to be one of my biggest misses. They were like plus 200 some, plus 300 some a few weeks ago, and now they're minus 500. I mean, that is crazy. Boise State, we gave them out at plus 200. They're minus 310 now. Tulane. We gave out Tulane at plus 750, 800. Now it's at plus 950. We got Army at plus 1,000. That's now plus 700. Remember, Boise State, Tulane, Army. Those are the 3 group of 5s that I think have the best chance to get in, and looking like it's probably going to be those 3. I guess UL Lafayette has a chance, but it's probably going to be Tulane, Army, Boise. And realistically, it's going to come down to Boise versus either Army or Tulane. I don't think it's going to be an either-or situation. I mean, Army Notre Dame is going to decide if Army makes a college football playoff or not. Army beats Notre Dame, good chance they're in if they win out. If they don't win that game, then it's just going to be between Tulane and Boise, which I think Boise has the best chance at that point. But yeah, you're looking. Some other teams are kind of in the middle. You got BYU plus 110, Colorado plus 125. So basically, there you're looking at Big 12 team has to get in. So I mean, I'd probably. I mean, both those guys being plus money isn't bad. BYU's been minus, I think, for a good minute. SMU plus 140, Texas A&M plus 300, Clemson plus 350, Kansas State plus 700, and then, yeah, that's basically where we'll end it because Army's at plus 700, LSU's at plus 700. Yeah, and then Tulane plus 950, and then you got Iowa State plus 750. Anybody lower than that, I mean, Missouri, like 25-1, UNLV 25-1. Probably not making it. But yeah, like I said, between BYU and Colorado, that's a tough one. I would, personally, at this point, if I would take anything, I'd take BYU just because I'm so deeply involved with Colorado futures. For those of you who don't know, your boy is pretty involved in Colorado futures. I got Hunter to win the Heisman. I got 2 tickets on that. I got 1 ticket on Colorado to win the make the college football playoffs, and I also have a ticket for Colorado to win the Big 12. So those are gonna be fun watches, man. I'm very excited. Big 12 has been super, super exciting. It comes out these last 3 weeks. I mean, it's crazy, man. We already got 3 weeks left of college football, and then it's conference championship week. Like, rivalry week is in 3 weeks. This season's been going by way too damn fast. Well, like I said, we're going to end it with some Heisman talk real quick. Speaking of Heisman, man, that Travis Hunter, man. Plus, Travis Hunter is now minus 115 to win the Heisman. That was plus 120. I got to text Rowan about this. This is crazy. That was literally plus 120 like 2 hours ago. Because I've been checking most days now. Just simply for the fact... for the fact that I have the future, so I've just been looking a lot. Like yesterday, he was minus 125, 150-ish, which means he moved up Dylan Gabriel. Now Dylan Gabriel's plus 350. Aston Jitsy's plus 360. Cam Ward's plus 800. So that means there's some movement on... Man, Travis Hunter now the favorite for Heisman. It was literally just a month ago. Colorado lost. A month or 2 ago, Colorado lost its game. And he's at like plus 2,500, plus 3,000 because he's got injured and everything. And now it's completely flipped. I just want to see what my cash out is real quick for Travis. I mean, it's insane how much this is flipped. Man, I bet. That's nice. Yeah. It's been really nice watching it. I mean, Colorado's been a fun watch this year. Them and India. Every year so far, I think TCU... 2 years ago was a team that was one of my favorites. Who would have been last year? I really can't think of who it might have been last year. Who did I bet on the most last year? Can you guys remind me? But whoever it was last year, I really Michigan won. They did win on the playoff run. That was awesome. That really helped out a lot. But yeah, it was Michigan a lot during their playoff. I think it was Michigan actually. Michigan was doing really good stuff for me. But yeah, like every year we've been able to find some of these teams where it's like they've just become like my boys. Colorado was a bit of my team line. Oklahoma State. That's who it was. And Missouri. They're ass this year. That's why I can't remember. So, yeah, it was TCU when they went on their little playoff run. I was banking in money on TCU every single week. Last year, it was the trifecta of Michigan, Oklahoma State, and Missouri. It was just every week. Those guys seemed to do me right, and it was awesome. This year, Indiana, Colorado, Army. The 3 teams have just been amazing. That have just become my team. They're like my teams. Like my children. Like, man, I love y'all boys. Your boys been balling out for me. But like I said, real quick to end it, we're basically just wasting time at this point. My guys to make New York. Obviously, we got Heisman, New York. Who's going to make New York? Obviously, we got Travis Hunter. That's no question. I mean, he now is the favorite. I think that makes a lot of sense. We got Dylan Gabriel. I think Gabriel will make it this point with how good that their offense has been, or not even just their offense alone, how good Oregon in general has been. I think he'll end up making it there. We got Ashton Jeanty. I think he had a massive game last weekend, so I think that's at least I think he's guaranteed New York at this point. Who did we say last week? I mean, last week for a 4-5, we had Cam Ward, who I thought was a lock, and then Curtis Rourke. So I'm just gonna switch Jeanty and Ward in this case. I still think Ward will make it, but I don't know if Ward's a lock anymore. My only locks are Hunter, Gabriel, and Jeanty now. Ward losing that game, I just think it opens up the door now a little bit. I still think he's going to make it. I mean, I just don't... I keep closing out this Heisman tab, and I've been going back to it like 3 times. I just don't know who... I mean, you got Curtis... I mean, Jalen Milroe, I guess, if he just goes on an absolute run, potentially, which is a guy we might have to resprinkle again now that he's... Man, he was at 40,000 last week, and now he's at plus 25,000. But Jalen Milroe goes on a run. Maybe he can get himself in there, but... We're going to keep Ward in there, and then we're going to just keep Rourke as well. If we got to keep on the bubble, we'll do Millrow. Millrow's on the bubble. Next year, this will be a lot smoother. I've been trial running it this year, and it's actually been a lot of fun. So we're going to do this probably for a few things next year. But yeah, my guys to make it to New York for sure. Travis Hunter, Dylan Gabriel, Aston Genty. I'm going to drop out Cam Ward. I think he's still going to make it to New York, but he's not a guarantee anymore in my book. I'm going to switch him and Aston Genty. I still think Ward makes it. And then I have Curtis Rourke being the 5th guy to make it. It's going to depend how... I just think he's going to just... He's earned it with how well he's played for Indiana. And then we got Jalen Milrow right on the edge, waiting to make some action happen. And, Jackson Dart's right there with him, too, potentially. But, yeah, I got Jalen Milrow for sure on the bubble. Wow. It's been a fun one today. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for support. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, college football's on the rise, man. We got 3 weeks left, and then it's time. We got college football playoffs, championship games. It's going to be a blast. I'll see everyone back in this feed on Wednesday. We got some Pickem Thursdays to go over. NFL bets, college football bets, and, man, got to get prepared, man. We got another week of football. Big one this week for a lot of teams who are looking to keep their playoff hopes alive. And, man, thank you all for watching. I will see everybody back in this feed tomorrow.